So, good afternoon, dear students. How are you today?
Good afternoon, teacher.
Good afternoon.
I'm glad to see you in my classes. So today we will study about essay writing also. And but our today's subject is comparison and contrast. We will learn about giving examples in comparison and contrasting. We will generalize some materials and analyze some paragraphs. So we will work on the difference of comparison and contrast. As you know, comparison is pointing out similarities, and contrasting is pointing out differences. So right now, I would like you to demonstrate my materials that we will today all together with you will study. And so, you know, because of
Turn off your audio.
uh, so because of some microphones which are left turned on, we will have some noises. Dear students, please keep these kind of situations in your mind, not to disturb others, not to make any unwanted sounds during our conferences. Please, or stay calm, stay in a silent place, or just turn it off. Just make your microphones turn it off. So give me a moment to demonstrate you our materials. So can you see it?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes. Here, today is our 5th week of our study. So comparison contrast. Okay. On this lesson, dear students, we will learn about supporting our topic sentences with similarities and differences between two things or between two aspects of one thing. So comparison and contrast is pointing out both similarities and differences. In the model paragraph, I'm sorry. So here further we will have a lot of model paragraphs. These are the examples or exercises that are given to you to work on. Yeah, here you see. We will notice similarities or parallels between the life and death of Kennedy and Lincoln. And there are obvious mainly differences between these two men, but the purpose of the paragraph, as it is stated in the topic sentence, is to show the likeness between them. Now our task, to show the likeness between them. In a paragraph of comparisons, the differences are often mentioned only briefly or are even omitted entirely. So let's start reading our model paragraphs, dear students, and work on analysis of it. So who would like to read? Do we have any students with a good skill of reading, good speech? Diana.
Okay. Model paragraph. Are you aware of striking similarities between two of the most popular U.S. presidents, Abraham Lincoln and John Kennedy? A minor point is that the names Lincoln and Kennedy both have 7 letters. Both men had their elections legally challenged. Lincoln and Kennedy are both remembered for their sense of humor as well as for their interest in civil rights. Lincoln became president in 1860, Kennedy in 1960. Lincoln's secretary was Mrs. Kennedy. Kennedy's secretary was Mrs. Lincoln. Neither man took the advice of his secretary not to make a public appearance on the day on which he has assassinated. Lincoln and Kennedy were both killed on a Friday in the presence of their wives. Both assassins, John Wilkes Booth and Lee Harvey Oswald, have 15 letters in their names, and both were murdered before they could be brought to trial. Just as Lincoln was succeeded by the Southern Democrat named Johnson, so was Kennedy. Andrew Johnson, Lincoln's successor, was born in 1808. Lincoln Johnson, Kennedy's successor, was born in 1908. And finally, the same caisson carried the bodies of both men in their funeral processions.
Okay, thanks a lot. So let's try to find off comparisons. So now
Here, they compared two presidents,
Yes.
Yes.
U.S. presidents.
Lincoln and Kennedy.
Yeah,
The coincidences are unbelievable here.
yeah.
so these students, we have a lot of comparisons in the
Yes.
lines.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. So
And differences between two
similarities.
presidents.
Comparisons means pointing out similarities between
Yes.
two of the most popular presidents, Abraham Lincoln
And
John Kennedy.
Mhm.
Kennedy.
Did their name have 7
And
letters?
both have 7 letters.
Both and
Yeah.
both men and
They,
their elections allegedly challenged. Lincoln and
Lincoln
Kennedy
and
are both
Kennedy.
remember of
Sense of
their sense of humor
humor.
Yes.
as well as
As
for
well
their
as their
interest in
interests.
civil rights.
All right.
Became president in 86. In
And
96, yeah, 60.
Kennedy. There are contrasts in it. Differences.
100 years between their
Differences in
Mrs. Kennedy. Kennedy is Mrs. Lincoln. Took the advice of his secretary not to make a public appearance on the day on which he was assassinated.
Comparison. This is comparison.
And they both have 15 letters in their names. Yeah.
comparisons.
Both assassins.
Yes.
What is assassins?
Um,
the murderers.
Yeah.
yes.
Hired person to murder someone, yes, or a person who was aimed to murder someone. Okay, both of them have 15 letters in their names.
And both
were murdered
murdered
before
without
before trial.
Yes.
Johnson. So was Kennedy. Andrew Johnson, Lincoln's successor, was born in 1808. Lyndon Johnson in 1908. And finally, the same caisson carried the bodies of the men in their funeral procession. What is caisson? What is caisson?
Caisson?
Caisson.
Caisson.
Maybe it's a box.
Books, yes.
Maybe it's the disease.
Cation carried the bodies of both men in the funeral procession.
Maybe this is a disease.
Disease?
Yes, maybe treat.
It's something
our-
like a for funeral.
Yeah. It should be such kind of a kind of thing for which is connected with funeral process. So as you know, both of them were presidents. Cation is a vehicle that carried the body to the funeral place. So we can say the same car carried the bodies of both men in the funeral procession. Okay, so we have made an analysis, and there is only given comparison, dear students. We have pointed out similarities, and now we will work on contrast. On contrast, we will try to find out, pointing out differences. Okay, so who would like to continue? Do we have any
May I-
volunteers?
May I-
Teacher, can I?
may I?
Yoda, let's start.
Okay. Model paragraph.
So Zioda, could you
Shall I
please
start?
read? Could you please read given
Okay.
task of the paragraph?
Contrast. Notice that in the following model paragraph, the author concentrates on the differences between extreme and extroversion and extreme introversion. He hasn't denied, however, that most people are a combination of both of these. On the contrary, the expression a scale suggests pricelessly such a combination. Model paragraph. Also, eagle and falcon are both birds, are predator, but there are many differences between each other. Unlike falcons, eagles are built heavy and strong. Eagles can be easily recognized by their size. Falcons are medium-sized birds of prey, and eagles are more robust than falcons. Another difference that can be seen is that the falcons have tomial tooth, whereas eagles don't have this. In comparing the wings, falcons have long and pointed wings, whereas the eagles have broad and rounded wings. There is also a difference in the eye color between the two. And while falcons have black or very dark brown eyes, eagles have different eye colors. When comparing the nature of these two, the eagles are very aggressive, and on the other hand, falcons are not aggressive but have a pleasant character. Pleasant character. Okay. May I continue?
I think the next is another.
Another
Yeah,
one, yes. Is an introvert and about extrovert.
I do so. I think this one is not connected to
Yes.
this paragraph.
Another.
Okay, let's make an analysis. So
There
Zioda,
are
you
about
started reading, so
difference
you continue.
between. Okay. About differences between falcons and ordinary eagles. Eagles, and there are a lot
Eagles
of,
are
a lot of
heavier and stronger than
yes,
falcons. Differences.
and then falcons, yes. And
So
falcons are medium-sized.
Eagles are more than rabbits.
More
so
than.
eagles can be large in size.
Yes, and
The eye color.
eye colors different.
Their character.
Because falcons have very black and very dark brown eyes, but eagles have different eye colors.
And the character, eagles are very aggressive.
Yeah, they are very
Are
aggressive.
not aggressive.
Falcons are not.
Yes.
Falcons have a pleasant character.
Falcons,
Character.
pleasant character.
Yes.
Even you can say eagles are more robust.
Robust.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Their wings different.
okay, thanks a lot. Just give me a moment. Okay, let's continue. According to this, okay, who would like to read? Who would like to continue?
I.
Araylum.
According to the Swiss psychiatrist Carl Gustav Jung, every person's personality can be placed somewhere on a scale running from extreme extroversion to extreme introversion. And the typical extrovert is particularly fond of people and people-oriented activities. He's sociable, likes parties, has many friends, needs to have people to talk to, and doesn't like reading or studying by himself. The typical introvert, on the other hand, is a quiet, retiring sort of person, introspective, fond of books rather than people. Unlike the extrovert, who craves excitement, takes changes, and is generally impulsive, the introvert shuns excitement, takes matters of everyday life with proper seriousness, and likes a well-ordered mode of life. Whereas the extrovert tends to be aggressive and loses his temper easily. The introvert tends to keep his feelings under the close control, seldom behaves in an aggressive manner, and doesn't lose his temper easily. The introvert is more reliable and less optimistic than the extrovert. The extrovert may often be subject to criminal or psychotic behavior, in contrast to the introvert, who may exhibit neurotic tendencies. Further difference between the two involves the ability to remember. Studies have tended to show that the extrovert learns faster than the introvert, but in the end remembers less. There is difference between introvert and extrovert. The typical extrovert, they are very people activities, and he's sociable, likes parties, and he has many friends.
Araylum, generally, does this paragraph talk about contrast or comparison, or about both of them?
It's comparative.
Is it about comparison? Okay, what about you, students? What do you think about?
I think that that's more contrast than comparative. It focuses on the differences between the personalities.
And the similarities.
Yeah.
Yes.
So in some cases, if we have in some cases similarities and in some cases differences, we can say that the paragraph is about comparison and contrast.
Both of them.
Both of them. Okay. Dear students, let's talk about methods of contrast. Okay, how many minutes do we have till the end of lesson?
2 main ways.
In which to organize your material when you wish to.
So there are 2 main ways in which to organize your material when you wish to develop a contrast paragraph. First one, point approach, and second one, block approach. Point approach. When we are talking about point approach, in this method, the contrasts are made one at a time, or point by point. Thus, the two personality types are first contrasted for sociability, then for risk-taking, and so on. Note that the words extrovert and introvert are repeated each time a new area of contrast is brought up. So, for example, sociability, extrovert, introvert is a type of people. Risk-taking, we talk about extrovert and introvert, and so forth. Point by point method. Okay, we can say point approach. So, also called the slice or alternating method. Compares the items one point at a time. The topic sentence focus on the point being used as the basis of comparison rather than the item. For example, thesis. John Stuart Mill and Michael Bakunin both support three of the basic principles of democracy: government by the people, tolerance, and equality. However, they support them to different degrees and for different reasons. Point one, point by point. Paragraph 1. Mill believes that the majority makes moral decisions. Paragraph 2. Bakunin believes that the public opinion should be the basis of society decisions, which is slightly different than Mill's understanding of a moral majority. Point 2. Paragraph 3. Mill argues that complete open-mindedness always benefits society. Paragraph 4. Unlike Mill, Bakunin allows freedom of expressions to be limited by public opinion. The last one, point 3, paragraph 5. Mill claims that we are all equal because mere accident determines what worldview we are born into. And in paragraph 6, as with Mill, Bakunin extends equality to all, embraces diversity. So what is block approach? Block approach. In this method, extrovert is completely described than in the second part of the paragraph. The introvert is completely described. This would have given a very different looking but equally acceptable paragraph. For example, introvert, sociability, risk-taking, feelings, aggressions. Extrovert, sociability, risk-taking, feeling, aggressions. Block method outline example. For example, thesis of the topic, same as point by point method outline. Part 1. Point 1. Mill believes that the majority makes moral decisions. Mill argues that complete open-minded always benefits society. Mill claims that we are all equal because mere accident determines what worldview we are born into. In part 2, Bakunin believes that public opinion should be the basis of society decisions. Unlike Mill, Bakunin allows freedom. As with Mill, Bakunin extends quality of all, embrace diversity. So, dear students, didn't you get misunderstandings between these two different methods: point approach and block approach. Is it clear to you?
Yes,
Yes.
everything.
In point approach, we give all the reasons. In block approach, we collect reasons into different blocks. We don't keep going on like it is given in point approach. Okay, I think we have 7 more minutes.